down here in Wollongong. So, Steve, how you going, mate?
Good, buddy, you?
Good, good. So, Steve, as you can see, Cruz Restorations. So, he's been doing some really cool stuff at the moment for the last couple of years that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I met you back at Yes Smash when we were going to Blue Coop, and obviously kept in touch. And being a Ford man, I follow pretty closely what you're up to on Facebook and those sorts of things. So, mate, you're obviously in your own shop now, on your own. And my understanding was when you first came here, you were just going to be doing paintwork.
So yeah, when we started, we opened up Cruz Restorations, as in just for paintwork. Doing paintwork on XY GTs, XW GTs, more of a concourse style restoration, as in paintwork. Things have grown a lot lately. As they do, as they do. They've grown a lot. They've grown a lot lately. So
what I've seen is you were sort of, you know, because I'd spoken to you about the possibility of doing some of our work where we can get the body finished and you do the paint. But clearly people wanted to do everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of evolved now where you're doing the whole thing.
Yeah, so we've started there, so we have to hire a panel beater. Got a panel beater on now too, so yeah, so we started doing from start to finish now instead of just the paintwork on wood, so we've start doing all metal work. All
so
panels.
primarily Ford?
Yeah. Primarily Ford. That's what I like specialising in more is GTs, XW, XYs. Yeah.
We might have to sit down and talk about that later. So, mate, show us just a little bit of what you've got going on here. So obviously Capri.
So Capri, this is more of a pretty good little cool car. This is more of a show car. This is going to be more of a Summonats Motor X car, more of a show quality car.
So that's going to be what, a couple of years here?
No, it'll probably be finished by the end of the year. It should be finished.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be finished by the end of the year. Yeah,
pretty good going.
So this car started as in wasn't supposed to go this far, but the owner got a bit excited. Ended up getting all the tub work redone on the car and engine.
Pretty common trade, isn't it?
Yeah, it starts
as a start somewhere and I know I find, and you must find the same, it makes it more difficult when it happens like that because stuff needs to be redone.
Exactly right. So it came in as a tough street car. He goes, it's supposed to be just like a little Windsor engine in there. Now it's just gone poof to a different level now.
And it was a running car?
No, he bought it off eBay as a roller.
Oh, okay.
So he bought it off eBay as a roller, and it was supposed to be just like a street car, but.
Alright, we might have a closer look at that in a minute. So you've got a couple of XW, XYs as well sitting there?
Yeah, so we've got XY in there. That's going off to the dippers soon to get dipped. That XW, this came back from Sandblasters last week. So I've always got two cars on the go, so always when I have two cars on the go, so these two are getting done at the moment. Metalwork's going to get started on that soon. I'm just trying to source down parts, but yeah.
So you were saying the other day when I was here that parts are becoming a problem at the moment, like panel parts?
Mate, honestly, I've been trying to source parts for that car out. I've been looking up Melbourne, Sydney. Mate, everyone's out of stock on these cars. There's that much. It
amazes me at the moment just how many cars are being done in the country, and we must be running out of XW, XY shelves. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Mate, it's come to a point now, I've got customers waiting, mate, can you find me a car, can you find me a shop? We've been going around everywhere, and what's out there is just rubbish.
But those cars are obviously now getting fixed because you've got to have a compliance plan.
100%. So instead of paying $3-4 grand for a shell like you used to back in the day, you're paying up to $30,000-$40,000 and you've got to pull the cars apart in your own. Everything's got to get stripped off from scratch, and you're paying top dollar,
premium prices, a lot of money to put them all together. All right, we might have a closer look at those and see what else we've got going on in the shop.
Awesome. All right.
Right, so give us a bit of a rundown. So you said this one's been blasted?
Yeah. So when this car came to us, it's a complete car, running car. Main board already restored. About a year and a half, 2 years, started showing a few imperfections on there. Ringed up, he goes, can you redo the car? Got done, I don't know, you just bought it done. So we got someone in Sydney to strip the car, sent it back to us, we sent it to the blasters, we got it back, and she's showing a lot of poorly repaired.
Yeah, that seems to be what I'm seeing when I talk to people and I watch on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. The biggest issue now is the cars we're repairing have been done 2 or 3 times before. And I know when we did Darren's coupe, it had rust repairs that had rusted out.
Yeah.
And I mean, people forget these cars are going on to, getting close to 50 years old.
Yeah.
That they're not only rusty, but they're rusty on rusty repairs, and then they've got panel damage that's been done, or top rails that are moved and then put back when they weren't worth a lot of money.
Exactly. Mate, these were just everyday cars back in the day. The cheaper they were just to get it back on, so the family can go shopping in them. That's what they were. You know what I mean? So yeah. Now.
So what are you're saying? You're looking for parts. So what will you replace on this with reproduction parts?
So this is a replica. I would use reproduction parts on a replica. Okay, on a genuine car, there's no way I'll put reproduction parts, but on a replica I would. So this is getting virtually everything changed. Radio support, in and out seal panels. Plans got to come off this car. Quarters got to get replaced. Floor pans getting changed, beef panel, boot floors all coming off, and of course the most common is all the seat rails are going to get changed.
So will you pull all that off and get it back to a starting point, or do you do bits as you go? Like, do you do the support panel and put it back on, or do you rip it all off?
So what I usually do, I'll start from the back. I'll brace the whole car up before I start pulling it apart, before we start chopping it up.
Yep.
We'll brace it up. We start from the back and work our way forward. And we'll do
so
section
you
at a time
as you go?
As we go.
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone does it differently. And I've seen cars out there now where it's almost just a floor left and then they reassemble.
Yeah.
And then other people I see where they'll say do the quarters in the boot area before they take the seals off and so on.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting to see and hear what different people do and why they do that.
Exactly. So it depends on the car how bad it is. This one needs a lot of work. This car needs a lot of work. Some people like pulling the whole things apart and leaving them just there, but you look at it, scares you, and you think where I'm going to start, where I'm going to finish. So
yeah, I'm a bit the same.
Yeah.
I take as much as I can off to get it blasted, and then do each section and don't have to do all the bracing. And I see other people that have the whole car apart, and almost a NASCAR roll cage in it, and then they put it back together. That's interesting. So what else do? So pre-mate, this one's you've obviously inherited, and it came in. So it was a reasonable looking body when you got it?
When it came in, it had previous repairs over it. Someone done a bit of a repair over it and put it in primer. And we ended up getting the car license. I saw a couple of things that I wasn't happy with, as in I had the rust stains coming up through the primer. And so we ended up getting it blasted. And when you get about 3 blasters, you see all the old
then you start to see what you've actually inherited. So obviously we've got Chris up along with us here now. So Chris has only been with you a short period of time.
Chris has been with me a short period of time. He's my panel beater.
So obviously this is going to be Chris's little baby to try and do some repairs on. So how you going, Chris?
There you go, mate.
Good. Give us a bit of a rundown how you got to be here, mate, and your involvement in the sport.
Well, been in the smash repair industry 17 or something now, so about 17, 18 years now. I've always wanted to get into restoration. I've messaged Steve a few times, and
you finally leaving, did you?
he wrote back saying come down for an interview,
Yep.
and I jumped on him. So yeah, I'm here with him now.
I believe you've had a bit of experience in the modified side of things.
Yeah, I've always played with cars and a few restos inside.
Yep.
Always wanted to go to a proper shop and
You
go for a
primarily
climb out.
smash initially, and then like most of us. Well, not me. I didn't start anywhere. I started at home. But most of the guys I've met, over the years, traditionally were in smash work and ended up doing restoration work. So clearly you've got some work in front of you here.
Yes.
And I'm not going to get too bogged down on the Capri because we'll come back and have a look at that in 6 months when you guys have done a fair bit more work on it. But it's typical to me that we see these sorts of things where, whether this was a rust or, I guess it's fuel filler, is it?
That was a fuel filler.
Yep.
It's a fuel filler here, and they're trying to do a stretch course in here to put the advising in here.
Right, so I noticed the other side had some work as well. So rather than move them, they've made a new panel and put a panel in by the look of it.
So the stretch look back, I think it was.
So what are you going to end up doing there, Chris? Have you made a decision yet about how you might fix that?
It's going to be a bit of work involved with it.
So will you fab a piece for there, or is there quarters of can you buy parts for these things?
This is probably one of the worst cars for parts, as in trying to get source parts for it.
Yep.
You can't just go RSPs like an XYW and say, mate, give me 2/4 panels or rust sections. And, you can't do nothing. So everything you've got to make in this car, so probably end up cleaning all this back up. And
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, we might keep moving forward and see we've got a couple of the old lines in the background, mate. We might have to have a quick look at them as we go as well. So, besides this sort of full-on work, obviously you take on some bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, so in between these big jobs, I take on a bit of as in filling jobs, I call them, engine bays or touch up some cars, stuff like that, just to keep stuff moving.
So it's interesting when you talk about touch-ups. If we pull the camera around and have a look at this one over here, I find it really interesting. It's a touch-up, but then you see the car and go, wow, you know, like it's a really, really nice looking street car.
Like this car here, it's a beautiful car. It's a Sydney car. This has got some street. It drives on the street a fair bit. So this car here, it's got a couple of stone chips on there. It's got to fix up, give it a polish, get it buffed up. Just tidy it up for a little bit, and it's going to get its chops put back on there.
So once again, this is another one of those cars that I'm going to have to try and get back here and do a bit of a story on, because it's almost like where we're going now, that we talk about it as a street car, and you look at the quality of the car, the wheels, the brakes, and then I've already had a look under the bonnet, and all of a sudden you get told it's another 1,000 horsepower car. So we'll definitely get some more footage of that. But you want to pop the bonnet up and just have a look at that while we're going past it to the next one.
So it's a 1,000 horsepower street car. You drive this everywhere. You'll go out for dinner with this car.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Parking outside. Yeah.
And I find that really intriguing at my age, that with that amount of horsepower and they still run nice. You know, they're well-mannered cars.
Yeah.
But then when they stick them on the dyno or the track, they make that huge sort of horsepower.
You can drive this thing to the track, drive it home, and have fun.
So we'll get back to that for sure. And then when I dropped in the other day, you were playing around with this one over here as well.
Yeah, so this is just a bit of an engine bay job for a customer. Just wanted the engine bay tidied up on this one. We didn't go to the full extent of what they do on the VKs and VLs, as in box rails and all that. You just want them simple, tidy, weld up a couple of holes, smooth the sides off a bit. That's all we want on this car. This is a beautiful, tough street car too. It's got a nice engine in there too, but yeah, this is just more of a...
Yeah, get rid of the clutter.
Just get rid of the clutter, just make it nice and clean. That's all we want on this one. But yeah, this is a very nice street car too.
So it's obviously handy for people like this as well to have a shop of this quality with the sort of work that you're doing, to be able to come here and have that sort of job done, and you can take it home and put it back together himself.
That's it. So my biggest thing is giving customer not 100%, 150% what they want. End of the day, this is someone's pride and joy. This is the next biggest investment to your house, these cars that they got, and make people expect everything to be right. So,
and that's why you booked out for 2 years, mate.
Yeah, I'll try my best. We'll try our best anyway, so yeah.
Alright, very good. So mate, I want to get into a bit of the nitty gritty now. So obviously you've been in the game a long time. So tell us a bit about how you got started and what you did your apprenticeship and how that sort of moved forward to where we are now.
Mate, I started in 1995. I left school at a very young age. I didn't even finish year 10. I think I was only in year 9, and I ended up leaving and I started working for a smash repair shop. I grew up in Sydney. I grew up in an area called Elwood, which is Muscle Car Central. Wherever you look, there was either GTs, Tiranas, muscle car heaven. And always loved colours and muscle cars. Nothing better than working Australian muscle. Can't ask for anything better. But so I started off, working there, and ended up getting an apprenticeship in a smash repair shop at Terra Point. I was there for a long, long time. We used to do half resto. It was a good prestige shop and a bit of GTs. I used to like doing GTs too. So I always had my fascination was with restoration. So I was more on that side, getting.
So what year would that have been? So you were
1995 I started.
So 95 you're working on a GT. So at that point you're really only 20 years old.
Probably, yeah. 1995 I started.
Because I find it really interesting, because I'm a bit older than you obviously, but my first job was in a Ford dealership when XYs were in the workshop getting service work and XA was a new car. And people say to me, how do you know that's right? And I say, well, I seen them when they were new. I owned a brand new XC. And I think people forget that, and what I see is people like yourself who've been around a long time with these sort of cars. Because some people, they specialise in this sort of work, that they did smash work all their life and then converted to restos, and then they're trying to fathom out how they should be built and what they look like.
Yeah,
Because I've never seen one original from the factory.
that's right. So when we used to do them a while ago, I think the level of these builds of these GTs have come a long way. As in like the quality and the finish, the way we restore them. When I first started doing them, everything had to be cut back dead flat. All the lines underneath had to be nice. And now it's done a big 360. Everyone's gone more for that concourse, factory finish, factory overspray look. So yeah, we've done.
Yeah, and it's interesting. When I did the Cobra 400, my aim with that car was to make it look like a new car, not a restored car. Because what I found over the years is a lot of the restored cars looked like a restored car. They didn't look like they were from a factory.
That's right.
And obviously they had, the gaps weren't 100% right, or weren't really right at all.
That's right. They weren't.
So my aim with that car, which was the first time I'd ever done that, was to actually do the car where it was almost out of the cocoon, and then go on, here it is, here's a brand new Cobra. And I found that after doing so many show cars, more difficult to do
It is.
than to do this sort of work you're now doing.
So that's exactly right. So to build a concourse car, as in factory style, the way the enthusiasts want them, is so hard than doing like a show car. Show car, you can just paint them, block them, flow coat them, as in to get that flat mirror finish. Mate, when I'm painting some of these cars, I've got 2, 3, 4 guns in the spray booth when I do my overspray, so I'm doing, Yeah.
So we've got a couple of guns sitting here and a few blocks and things. So it was something I wanted to talk about. We'll get back to how you progress from that shop to where we are now. But the process to try and go from that chopped, flow-coated finish to now in 2-pack to get that off-the-gun look that's as close as possible to what acrylic was.
Yeah.
Obviously you've developed a lot of things to be able to do that.
Yep.
And I see here you're running the Lumalite, and I've seen those, I haven't used one. Tell me about what difference that made for you with what you're doing with the paintwork.
Okay, so my spray guns that I use developer spray guns, but the secret is my tips that I use HVLP. A lot of painters use HVLP just for base coats. I use HVLP all the way through to my clear coat to get that factory peel that I love. The Lumalite actually helps me. At first I thought it was a gimmick. I thought,
well, that's what I've been thinking.
Like, got a sun gun, go with the sun gun. But when you actually use it, and you're actually laying down that base coat and that clear coat, and you're watching that clear coat, mate, it is an eye opener. And honestly, to this day, I can't paint without it. I absolutely, when I'm doing like a factory GT, like a factory finish GT, I need that on there to get that peel that I need.
One of the things I notice is that if I'm spraying something, I'm almost chasing the light, so I'm trying to keep that nice even gun, but at the same time I'm moving around to be able to see where I'm going, and obviously this takes that away from it.
That takes that away, and honestly, like I said, at first I thought, mate, it's just a gimmick, I've got my sun gun in there, but when you actually start using it, mate, honestly,
It's probably something I've got to have a look, borrow one or something and have a bit of a go at that. But so you've worked in that shop.
Yep.
So the progression from there, where did you go from there?
So I was still living in Sydney at the time. I was working at that shop. I ended up getting married. Moved down to Wollongong. Worked for a little shop down here, which when the coop was done, worked for that shop. I was there for a long time. Did a lot of good street cars down here. But I always wanted to, open my
wheels, mate.
A lot of wheels. We did a couple of GTs, which I always try to.
Mate, I said it right to Sunday to me, I'm going to stay with it. Wollongong, the VL capital of the world.
VL is the Wollongong capital of Australia.
Mate, it's unbelievable, mate.
Mate, there's that much VLs down here. It's just, I don't know if they're fanatics with them cars down here. And I've done a lot of them down here, but I still,
So you were, what, 18 years?
Almost.
That shop?
About 18 years we were there,
So then you progressed from there to here? Or?
So what happened, so I ended up getting in, I was talking discussion with a well-known, very known GT restoration fellow in Australia. I reckon he builds some of the high-end quality GTs, like as in concourse stuff. And I met another bloke who was a panel beater, used to do a lot of great metal work. We ended up having a good discussion and said, listen, you want to do paintwork for us? I said, no problem at all. That's where I started. Then I opened up this shop about almost 4 years ago as just in a paint shop, and that GT guru taught me a lot how to do a lot of the factory stuff. So
with that factory stuff, I mean I've been in some of those shops myself and seen the photos where you look at it and go, oh, was there really overspray here or not? And I mean, those guys have got a lot of photos whereby they've pulled apart cars that haven't been modified.
So
I didn't realise, and I think it was the XY who was showing me where the spotlight brackets are bolted to the radiator support panel before the paintwork's done, which means the overspray is not under it. So there's all those little things that true concourse that they're chasing, and these are the cars that are obviously between $500,000 and
$1 million each,
whatever. Whereby they're looking for that, and I know that's where your passion's gone now and what you're doing, and obviously very good at it because you've put it out forever.
Now, they would buy it. Well, he's bought a car that's never been painted, a genuine GTHO. He bought it just to get all the factory oversprays and document everything so he can pass that on to every single restoration he does.
Yeah.
So he's gone to that extent, and
so I know initially he used to come down with you to do the overspray.
Yeah. So the first two he came down, and he used to do all my spray sealers the way he liked them, the way they come out from factory, and he used to go, okay, Steve, he was in the booth with me, do overspray here, do overspray there. After the third one, I caught on, took photos, and I used to document it, and I've learned from there, I've progressed from there. So
now you're the man.
I don't know if I'm the man, but I try.
Well, obviously you are, because you're doing a lot of it. So mate, the other thing we've got sitting here is splines.
All right.
And blocks. So once again, I've been using splines forever. I just didn't know they were called a spline.
Yeah.
And I've always used, perspex or timber, and in my program you'll see a lot where I use Tasmanian oak strips and stuff that I do a lot of my blocking and sanding with. And obviously now there's companies, like the big kid blocks from the States and Melanotive doing stuff. So just briefly give us a feel where your thoughts are and what changes that's made the way you're blocking cars now.
Alright, so these are the splines, so there's two different kinds. There's the Melanotive ones, which are great. Big kick ones are good too. There's no comparison between them. They're both all good blocks. Melanotive, I've done a course with them. They've shown me how to use these properly. Mate, if you want to get a car straight, these are the best way to do it. They actually when they make a car, they use splines to make it when they clay a car.
Yeah, clay modelling. Yeah.
And that's where these evolved. So to actually do a car the way we do them, I can't go past these. I do all my filler work from filler work, paint all my blocking with primary splines. Yeah. So
my problem is I'm still working in that nice pristine environment that I like, and I don't make a lot of mess. So I'm still using different blocks.
Yeah.
But within that process, I do use splines, just not to the extent you're doing. And the difference for me is, and for a lot of people at home, is they're doing sometimes one car in their lifetime. And for myself, I'm lucky to get one car out every, 1 year or one every 2 years. So I'm always interested to hear someone like yourself that's doing lots of paintwork every, lots of cars in a year and sort of touch-up stuff.
Yeah.
Because people look at me and say, the paint guru. I go, no, hang on, I build cars, but I only paint one. I normally have the time available to me to be able to get the result that I get. So it's interesting to hear, your thoughts, and obviously you've got a big passion for those now.
I do. I kind of see, I'm very hard. I've got my ways, and I don't like change. But when I've actually used it and seen the difference that we get in jobs, like we've used the old normal vacuum blocks on there. When I blocked it down, I've guide coated it. And when I first tried these, the bloke goes, he came down. He goes, try this. So he goes, block it down with your block. No problem. He goes, guide coat it, block it down with one of these. Mate, I was embarrassed. I thought, how the hell did I repair that? You can see all the lows. These pick up everything. Everything.
So I would say that's probably more the fact that the old way you would have got it there, but this is a lot less.
A lot less work, a lot less process. It's honestly, it doesn't take. It cuts a lot of hard work out with these, because it actually you get the repairs done in one go, not 2, 3, 4 goes.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So I even wipe my filler work in with this. Like I'll do my filler work on the roof. I'll get a spline and wipe the spline with all my filler work.
It's probably a whole other subject that we might get to later, because otherwise we'll end up
getting different stuff.
So you've been here 4 years now?
Almost 4 years, yeah.
So what's your focus now? Where would you love to be with the business in what sort of work you're doing and moving forward?
So business has grown a fair bit. I started off this shop as nothing, and it's just growing every month. It's just growing. People are calling.
What's your perfect scenario? To have three
Perfect.
XYs sitting here and that's what you're doing, or
Mate, I want a whole bunch of I want a whole shop of XYs. So
okay.
I wanted to
So you want to be the XW X1 man, like I'm the ABC.
Yes, exactly, mate. Yeah. So my goal is by the end of the year, I'm looking to expand to get a bit bigger shop, as in we've outgrown this one.
Yep.
That's my goal by the end of the year. And yeah, so my passion is just doing XYs, XWs, and that's the go for it. Yeah.
Well, mate, thanks for your time today.
No, thank
I
you.
really appreciate your openness and your preparedness to pass on some of the things that you do. And you know, there's probably a case that as you get one of these a bit closer, we'll not come back when we've got a bit of colour. It seems everywhere I go, it's all epoxy.
So epoxy, yeah.
Yeah, but mate, really good to hear some of the story.
No, thank you. It's good to have you here.
What's happening, and look forward to catching up to you again.
No, thank you so much. It's good to have you guys here, and hopefully I can spread a bit of light on what I do, and people can see the next thing or the new ways of doing restoration work. Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
No, thank you guys.